right. Hi, everyone. I am here today. My name is Casey Schmalacker from New Frontiers, and I'm joined by Dominique Pagano from CFI, which is the Child and Family Institute. And thank you for joining us for one of our little professional conversations. We like doing these to show that there's humans behind the work we do, and a little bit about how much we love working together. And it just so happens our office out in Long Island, Dominique is one of the people that's taken up some of the space with CFI there, working collaboratively together. So, just to kind of jump right in, Dominique, what inspired you to go into mental health in the first place?
So I have had a large history of having a lot of family members around me have significant mental health issues. And I've seen systems that have been able to come in and help do the supportive work that has led to much brighter outcomes. So for me, it's a very personalized manner as to why I went in. But also, I wanted to go into a profession that I know I'd come out every day and I'd feel that I was able to make a difference in at least one life every day. And for me, that's kind of the largest payment of my entire job, is to be able to make a difference in the world. So that's a large reason. I was very impacted with family members. And just wanting to see a change in the world. I know that that probably sounds a little corny, but that's me in a nutshell. I like to make changes. So that's a large reason why I went in. And I'm certainly very passionate about helping other people.
I feel like you just described my college essay that I wrote, trying to help people and wanting to give back. Do
Yeah.
you ever find that those lines sometimes get blurred? Is that ever a challenge of something hitting close to home, and how do you navigate that? Because I know, like, where we do very goal oriented work and positive moving forward, but in the field you're in, sometimes that can cross over. What's that like?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we have a term in our world that we use called countertransference, and being able to kind of, it's actually a main part of practice within our training. I actually train a lot of our social work interns over in our practice. And that is a large thing that we use in supervision and training to be able to talk about. That's actually one of the main concepts of social work, is being able to kind of figure out where yourself is within the room, and being able to address some of that countertransference issues that pop up. It happens so often because, as you talked about, we're all humans, right? This is kind of the human behind the curtain here. That, of course, there's going to be certain issues that maybe hit a little bit closer to home. But that's also why our profession is really unique, in the sense that therapists all have built-in supervision within their schedules. That's actually a large part of practice, is that so we're able to talk about how we're bringing ourselves into this room, and kind of what happens with some of these like counter-transference type issues. But yes, it happens quite often, and it's really great to be able to have such a large kind of colleague pool to be able to bounce ideas off of, and to be able to talk about these things within a supervisory setting. And again, we get a lot of training as well, just when we're getting into the mental health field, to be able to prepare us for that, because that's a very large thing that pops up quite often.
It's almost like you're reading my mind. So I wanted to ask, CFI is a large group. Um,
Mhm.
for anyone not aware of CFI, they're all over the place. I'm not even going to begin to start listing all the places. You could definitely check out the website. But are those some of, is that something that drew you to a large organization like CFI, of
Yeah.
having others to, like, how does that help you be a better practitioner?
Oh, absolutely. So actually, me and some of my colleagues meet weekly for peer supervision. I was really attracted to specifically CFI because one, their mission is just phenomenal. We're really trying to spread out evidence-based practice within many different regions, right? As you said, like we can't even, I wouldn't even be able to name all of our offices. We have so many. But what's so great is working with colleagues actually within all different professions. So we not only have social workers, we have psychologists, we have licensed mental health counselors, and then we have other colleagues that we work with in different specialties that we consult with. And one of them even being, consulting directly with even you guys with New Frontiers. It's been phenomenal to really feel like you have a whole team behind you. And that's what I love so much about the work is it's very collaborative. If there's a really specific issue with a patient, there's usually a colleague that's had an experience similar that's able to come in and help consult with you and kind of offer that peer supervision aspect. So that's 100% what drew me to CFI is that large kind of network of everyone kind of, you know how they say it takes a village, and really that's kind of what it is. CFI, we call it like a CFI family, but it really is like a village to be able to help provide the best patient care possible. So I really love it about CFI. And I have the most amazing colleagues. Can I tell you, I just like them as individuals and as professionals. They're all phenomenal in their own right.
It's so interesting. I love the collaboration as well because I feel like it's imbued in people in this type of work, this service oriented, and it's really like self betterment. That's where I see the crossover between therapy and coaching. They do different things, but it's
Mhm.
about making the individual feel better about themselves and what they're trying to achieve. And we hate telling people we can't help them. It's
Yeah.
just that it's not in us. And so being able to have an organization like CFI of, well, we can't do that bit. We could do the coaching, but why don't you go check out these people?
Yeah.
Is one way. It's not in our nature to
Mhm.
not to see a problem and not want to help.
Yeah.
But it is also difficult to balance that if we can't do everything and be good at
Absolutely.
it. That's
Absolutely.
that's the main thing. So getting into a little bit of just we're still in a pandemic. We're still isolated,
Yes.
even though sometimes we pretend we're not. And it's like one day of feigning ignorance. But what's been hardest for you professionally? Like, I know a lot of professionals are struggling while trying to keep up the veneer of strength with
Yeah.
clients. What's been hardest for you professionally through this?
You know what? I talk a lot about this with a lot of my other like service oriented friends within the field as well. What I think a lot of us have been struggling with is this concept that really maybe hasn't been as present, is that we're all experiencing some level of a different change or loss in a way, and we're experiencing something similar that our patients are, and it may be different in what's actually going on, but we're all kind of collectively experiencing a similar experience that doesn't feel so great, of course. And certainly, I think also it's been a little bit challenging to kind of navigate working within the home and establishing those boundaries of, kind of business space and kind of home life, right? Because when you go home, it's usually like a haven. And certainly it's been a little bit more challenging because those who didn't have, I know I didn't have a home office prior to this. I kind of had to create a little nook for myself in a room to be able to create my home office here. So that's also been really challenging. And also the fact that I I'm a therapist. I love human beings. I love interacting on a daily basis. And to be drawn into this kind of work from home environment, and not being able to kind of see and pass colleagues in and just kind of knock on a door, that's certainly been a little bit more challenging too, is feeling maybe a little bit more isolated. But certainly kind of Zoom meetings and calls have been helpful, but it loses a little bit of that kind of human connection. I'm sure that you kind of understand what I mean too, Casey.
Yeah, no, I used to think the term water cooler was like water cooler discussion. I was like, that's so lame. And now I'm like, oh my God, I know exactly what like they're talking about. Like it's a,
Right.
you don't know what you got till it's gone.
Yeah.
And it's that I almost I sometimes feel guilty because I enjoy working from home. I enjoy this bit, and then I look at everyone else that's like, I want to get back to normal. I want to get back to normal. And I almost
Mhm.
second guess myself of like, wait, but I'm kind of comfortable. And so it's
Mhm.
almost a little bit of that reverse of like, is there something wrong with me that I like this? And so it's funny that even people that might enjoy some of the aspects of this, they have similar fears and anxiety as people that might not.
Yeah.
Um, just like a different, it's like a double-edged sword. It's the other side of it.
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
but I am always an optimist, so I always like to ask, like, what's been a bright spot for you in the pandemic? What's something that has helped you get through of it's not all darkness and despair? What's something that's motivated you through this?
Yeah. I mean, I'm the same way, Casey. I like to, it's interesting sometimes. My friends are like, I know that I can always come to you to positively reframe a situation. I was like, oh, that must be the therapist in me, because I always try to find some kind of bright spot within what seems to be a not so bright situation. I have to say, the one thing that I've really, really enjoyed, that I don't think that we would have been able to experience if not for the pandemic, is this change to telehealth. I've learned that I can push my limits here and really be able to engage in another way and in another setting. And it really like flexes your like creative mind muscles to be able to say, all right, how can I do what I was doing in person and create an engaging online telehealth kind of platform here? And the other thing is, it's been really great for outreach to other regions that may have not had access to maybe the best mental health care services. So we've been actually able to access some of those regions because now we can see patients via telehealth, which has been phenomenal. And it's really blown up the entire kind of way that we look at mental health and telehealth. And I definitely see, I think there's going to be a lot of positive changes that are happening down the road. That's like professionally my bright spot. And personally, I've gotten out into nature so much more than I ever have. I was just telling my husband the other day is, wow, like I don't think that we've seen this much of New York, and we've lived here our whole lives. So we certainly we did a lot of hiking this year, and it's been really nice to kind of just reconnect with the area where you're from and where you live, and to be able to kind of experience new things. So it gave me an appreciation for kind of where I live and where I grew up, and kind of viewing new things. So that's been pretty cool too. So
I feel like there's been it almost was like you weren't having fun unless you were spending money. And now
right.
you go out into nature and it's like, oh my God, like another benefit of this has been I'm saving money. Like I'm going
Yeah,
accessing these free things that I never accessed before. And then I think
totally.
about like some of the clients we work with, like we always tell them, like
Mhm.
access this stuff. It's there for you. And I totally um relate to that. It's like just going for walks more often. Like
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's
I
just That's been built into my schedule now. So once I go back to the office, I'm going to have to figure out how I get in my daily walks, even like near the office, and what I can kind of do, because I'm certainly going to miss that aspect if I can't make that happen.
Yeah. Have you seen as I've been talking to different professionals, I've seen a feeling that people are accessing mental health supports
Mhm.
because there's less excuses to not, because it's through telehealth. So not just the distance, but just the fact of traveling to a therapy appointment. Um,
Absolutely.
or that it can be 30 minutes and it's worth it because I don't have to travel for it. Have you seen an uptick in that where people are accessing it more?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it's been phenomenal because it does kind of break down a lot of those barriers, right? And it's not even just even the distance, it's, that commute time that you were talking about. And then I think about, we work primarily with children, adolescents, and their families. And then not only do you have to rely on it to be free for the child schedule, which, as we know, kids and teenagers, they could be involved in a lot of different activities, and then it's like another thing that they have to be able to try to figure out how do they fit this in, but also they have to have kind of a caregiver, somebody who's available to drive them to their appointments and stay there throughout their appointments, and to be able to drive them back home.
And
So
for the parents too, like they don't need a babysitter.
yeah.
Like they can trust
Hmm.
that they can go close the door,
Oh yeah.
sometimes uninterrupted. I'm sure they still get interrupted, but
Yes.
so so to end on like another positive note, what's something like that you're looking forward to, and whether it's just in 2021 or just in the future, like what's something that you've had your sights on, either professionally or personally? Like what's something you're looking forward to?
Something I'm definitely looking forward to, as I just kind of talked a little bit about, is, I am, starting to really form our social work and mental health counseling internship program into something so wonderful. So I guess, like, kind of in the next like few years, I'm really looking to build upon that in the program development side and really make that into something super wonderful. Because for me, when I am supervising students, I feel that I'm even giving back in a whole other way, because now we're providing services for families who may not be able to afford or access our services otherwise. And now we're having trainees who are getting highly trained and specialized within these different modalities. And they're able to now access these wonderfully evidence-based treatments for a low cost or even pro bono. So that's been super wonderful. I'm really looking forward to kind of developing that further. And then I'm also just for my own self here, I'm looking forward to, hopefully in the near future, hopefully getting a dog. That's kind of next on my agenda here, so that's exciting.
They're the best. I have a little mini Australian Shepherd.
Yeah.
She's guarding the door right now back there, even though there's
Oh
nothing
yeah.
to guard. Yeah, no, that's great. So calling all aspiring social workers, check out CFI. I mean, it might be that they're a large organization. So I hope I'm not promoting something that you're not ready to take on, Dominique. But if you're looking forward to it, we'll get people coming your way. So
Yeah, yeah. We are definitely in the process of accepting interns for our upcoming fall semester here. So
awesome. And just for anyone that was listening in, do check out CFI. Like they really do they run the gamut of supports in mental health. And they do have that sliding scale, some pro bono work. So it's something that can really be a great resource, whether for any of you listening or people you may know. So sharing that resources is really what all this is about. I always joke, and Dominique, I don't know if it resonates with you, but the last thing I like to hear is, "I wish I knew about you years ago." And
oh,
so,
absolutely. That is my favorite thing to hear from families. It really is.
and then saying, "Look, and let's help other people know sooner so
Yeah,
that we can all help them. So I want to thank you
absolutely.
so much for joining me.
Yeah.
And I look
Thank you
forward,
so much for having me. It's
of
been
course,
wonderful.
I look forward to more collaboration in the future. And I hope you
Yes.
have a great day.
Yes, you too.